One thing I'm very interested in is a real life character or a real life driver. Her name is Danica Patrick, and she's a female NASCAR driver. And what I'm kind of shocked by is how she doesn't have a lot of female support outside of NASCAR. There's, calling her things like bikini stuffer, or she's not doing anything for women in the sport. But at the same time, did we ask the same thing about folks like Jackie Robinson and Jesse Owens or Muhammad Ali? Well, Muhammad Ali did, but do we ask the same questions of men? Do we ask the same questions of men of color? Do we ask those same questions? Why does she have more responsibilities on her other than to drive and to perform and to, be popular in a sport where not only does it matter how you finish or how well you perform in the sport, but how much, how many audience members you draw and how much stuff you sell. So why is it that we judge her differently, and why is that okay? And this spans academia, this spans real world, this spans popular culture. That's what I'm really interested in. Why is it that we have these different sets of judgments and we're okay with it? This is what I love about the concept of popular culture. If we just take those terms apart and, culture, right? That means you are cultured. You have some level of refinement, education, knowledge. It turns spoiled milk into cheese that we pay a lot of money for. And then you have the sense of the popular, which is not exactly cultured, right? It's available to everyone. It's of the populace. So you have this kind of clash just in the term itself. That's what I love about this because we can use these same tools because a lot of times it's where are these restrictions coming from? Are they coming from Hollywood to a certain extent? How much are we doing ourselves as academics? Let's be very honest about that. Let's look at ourselves. Let's look at how some women behave towards each other. Let's look at some men. So instead of saying this problem based on this thing, let's really break it apart and be willing to not only examine each other, but also ourselves too. And I keep pointing to Danica for a reason is number one, she is the subject of dissertation. Number two is I'm a lifelong race fan, and it's so amazing to see a woman race there. And when I saw her in a car racing, especially NASCAR, it was akin to the first time I met a female pilot who worked for the Thunderbirds. And I remember going up to her and just wanting to hug her because here she is. She's flying for the Air Force, right? She's flying for this elite group of folks that fly right next to each other in perfect formations and they didn't run into each other. Oh my gosh, this is cool. I never thought women did this when I was growing up. And to see her doing it now actually was kind of inspirational for me personally. But then I see a lot of people talk about her, well, no, she's not doing enough for women. I'm like, dude, she's performing as an athlete. That's not enough. So this then becomes inside of NASCAR, a lot of women are pointing to her as a hero, as their own personal heroes. A lot of women outside of it are not. So I'm curious then, what are these points of resistance? Let's see how we can build this common identity of this is not man versus woman. This is not society versus woman. This is not patriarchy versus feminism. This is what is the best thing for the human race.